Hello class, this is Mrs. Gregory. I'm about to give you your notes. I need you to go ahead and get your paper out, and you're using pencil. Don't use a pen like I am using right now because I keep messing up. But we're going to be using your book, so if you have your book, go ahead and open it to page 164. We'll be doing the notes on lesson 31. All right, it should look like this. Let me go ahead and put this up. This is where we are, and we're going to start with new concepts. Today we're going to be talking about areas of rectangles, all right? We're going to talk about an area of a rectangle, and what they did give us right here at the very beginning is they showing us an example right now of what a rectangle is, all right? And they're telling us that the dimensions of this rectangle is 20 feet by 40 feet, okay? Now, they're reminding us that the perimeter, the number of feet of fencing he used was the perimeter. When we were looking before to find out how much fence he needed, he had to add 20 plus 40 plus 20 plus 40 because we were putting a fence around it, we need the perimeter. But now we need to know its area. We're going to learn how to find the area of a rectangle. And just for your information, the area, by the way, is the space inside the perimeter, by the way, inside the rectangle. And as we also talk about units, okay, we're going to be talking about squared units. So when I find the area of his garden, this is going to be in feet squared, all right? And they gave us a little example here, and they said this is 1 centimeter, but then when I say that this is 1 centimeter all the way around, this is 1 square centimeter, all right? Just so you have that in your heads. Let me go ahead and get started. Let me give you a quick reminder on what area of a rectangle is. I'm going to put this aside. I'll pull it back out in just a minute. But right now, I'm going to talk about area of a rectangle. All right. The area of a rectangle. You need to write this down with me, okay? And I'm going to put a generic rectangle here. I'm going to tell you one side. These two sides are the same. I'm going to put a little hash mark that tells you this length and this length are the same. And I'm going to put another one on this side. And I put 2 hash marks to tell you that this one and this one are the same. Of course, you know my picture is not perfect. But one side I'm going to call, this is the length of the rectangle, and this side, the shorter side, I'm going to call the width. Now it really doesn't matter whether it's length or width or width or length. It's just a dimension. But I'm going to tell you to find the area, the amount of space that's inside the rectangle. We're going to say the area is equal to length times the width. All right, this is important. Some of you have already learned this before, but it's always good to remember. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pull out the book right here, and I'm going to do example number 1. All right, and when I do example number 1, first I'm going to read it. I'm going to show you the picture. I'm going to work out the problem right here. And what I want you to do is follow along, just like as if we were in class. And I want you to write down what I write down and just pay attention, all right? And if for any reason you misunderstood anything or I have gone too fast, back the video up and do it again, all right? Now, the first example, I'm going to write example number 1, says, how many floor tiles, 1 foot on each side, are needed to cover the floor of a room that is 8 feet wide and 12 feet long? Well, we have a picture here, and I'm going to do my best to draw. I'm not going to draw everything, but I'm going to draw this. And I know that this is 12 feet, and this is 8 feet. 8 feet. Not too good there, but there you go. So I'm kind of drawing it the same size as best I can just to kind of get a picture. And it says how many of those 1 foot tiles, each tile is 1 foot. So each one of these, I'm not going to touch this because I'll end up marking my book, but each one of these little squares is a 1 foot square tile. All right, they're 1 foot on each side. Now, if you notice, There's 12 feet across here, and since each tile is 1 foot, I should have 12 tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And again, if each square tile is 1 foot, and this is 8 feet, I should have 8 tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right? So the question is, how many, I'm just going to shorten my question. You don't have to write the whole thing. How many floor tiles, I'm going to put floor tiles, are needed to cover, all right, are needed to cover the 8 feet by, I'm going to do it like this, by 12 foot long floor. I know my sentence is not exactly the same, but it means the same thing. So what I'm looking for, it says, how many floor tiles are needed to cover the floor? So anytime we talk about covering the floor, we're talking about area. And they tell us that the room is 8 feet wide and 12 feet long. Okay, so what I'm going to do is tell you that area, I'm going to write this again, is equal to length times width. And a lot of times you'll see it like this. A is equal to L times W. All right. Now what I'm going to do is say that the area is equal to, and I'm going to make L equal to 12 and W equal to 8. So this is 12 times 8. And by the way, these are both feet. So when I'm done, and I know that 8 times 12 or 12 times 8 is 96 feet squared. Okay, that's the unit. Or you can say 96 square feet. All right, they mean the same thing. So my answer, and you need to circle it, is right there. Okay, so if you have any questions on this, go back. Now another thing that you have here that you may not remember is that the answers are here. See the solutions? Notice that they give you 8 tiles in each row. There's 8 rows. There's 96 tiles, all right? Which just comes out to the same question that I have. You could count each one of these, and if you count them, you'll end up with 96 tiles. But if you don't, for any reason, do not understand what I have told you, I want you to go back to the solution and reread it and understand the questions, okay? And see if that helps. All right, there's your second option. All right, I need to go to example number 2. Example number 2 says, what is the area, can you see this? What is the area of this rectangle? Now this rectangle, this time has the dimensions of 8 centimeters by 4 centimeters. You might hear that sometimes, but 8 centimeters by 4 centimeters. Let me go ahead and write example 2. I might have to do it up here. Example 2. I'm gonna draw me the rectangle. Pretty much all rectangles are the same shape. 8 centimeters by 4 centimeters. And they ask, what is the area? I'm not gonna add any more. I think that pretty much you understand what's being said. If you wrote this on your paper, I'm gonna know what you need. And I'm gonna tell you again that the area is equal to the length times the width. All right, this, you need to memorize that formula. These are called formulas. And I'm going to tell you that area, and I'm going to say L is equal to 8, and the width this time is equal to 4. Now, honestly, it doesn't matter if I make this the width and this the length, because it would be the same thing. But I'm going to say area is equal to, and I'm, instead of saying L or length, I'm going to put 8 centimeters here times 4 centimeters. All right. And then when I'm done, all I do is multiply 8 times 4, which gives me a 32. And again, centimeters squared, or you can say squared centimeters. All right. Final answer, done. All right. Notice they have the same thing here. So if you didn't understand my explanation, they have it in the book. All right. If at any point I've gone too fast, pause the video, go back a little bit. All right. and watch the example again. I have one more example. This is a short chapter. And in this one, the area, let me make sure I got this in the picture. You guys can see it just with me. It says the area of a square is 100 square inches. And it says A, how long is each side of the square? And B, what is the perimeter of the square? Now this question is a little bit more complicated, all right, because you need to understand a couple things. First off, it says the area of a square. By the way, you need to know that a square is a rectangle, but this time all the sides are the same length. That's what makes it a square. If it weren't that way, then it'd be a rectangle. So, but it says, and this time they give us the area. They say that the area is equal to length times width. I'm gonna put times width. All right, and I'm going to write it again. Area is equal to length times W. All right, and I'm going to tell you that the length and the W are both the same. So this time I'm going to say, why don't I just make that a side, and I'm going to call that a side, where S is equal to side. All right, and instead of saying area is equal to length times width, I'm going to say side times side. Follow me here. And I'm going to say, let me write S is equal to a side, because all the sides are the same. All right, and this kind of changes the formula a little bit, but for this case, since this is a square, it helps us to understand that all the sides are the same. Now, one thing they did tell us is that this square has an area of 100 square inches. And I'm going to put inches squared, all right? 100 inches squared. That's the area. The area, and I'm going to put that in here. 100 inches squared is equal to side times side. Since they're both the same, now I need you to think back and remember what number multiplied to itself equals 100. You can use your multiplication tables. I'm fine with that. I wish you would have this memorized, and I'm going to bet some of you have this memorized. But if I go back and I think about it, I remember that 100 is equal to 10 times 10, which tells me each side is equal to 10, in this case, inches. So one side is equal to 10 inches. So that answers question A. It says, how long is each side of the square? So this is A. We found that. How long is each side? Let me write that down. How long is each side? All right. And we found it to be 10 inches. All right. Part B, when we go here, it says, what is the perimeter? Now, the perimeter, I've said earlier in this lesson, is a little different than the area. In fact, they're completely different. When I look at the perimeter, I'm looking for the distance around. So if I know this is 10, let me draw a picture of it again over here, because I'm gonna draw my square again, and I say this is 10, this is 10, this is 10, and this is 10, right? And I ask for the perimeter. The perimeter is equal to every side added together. And the fact that a square is the same, I can just say 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. And some of you would have realized it's the same thing as 4 times 10, because I got 4 sides, all right? And then all of this is equal to 10, 20, 30, 40. So this is 40 inches, all right? So there's A, and this is B. So let me let you look at that. Let me make sure I got it in the picture, because sometimes I draw this and I don't even have it in the picture. So make sure I've got that in there. All right. Your job now, once I've got through this, is to understand this. And then you're to start the practice set. It's right here. For some of you who do not have your book, please take a look at this. All right. You can get a clean sheet of paper out, head it correctly, put your name, the date, and you're in whatever period class you're in with me. I believe this is period 1. You will put also practice set lesson 31, page 166, you will do A through H, okay? It should be listed in your, with your work, all right? So once you do this, but you need to do this first, all right? I'm about to make another video with the answers, but I don't want you to look at the answers before you at least try to do the practice set yourself. All right, good luck, guys, and we'll see you again.